Hello strangelings, welcome back to my parlor. So today, I know you can tell by the title, this is going to be a hot button issue. And it's just because there's a hot button issue on my mind, but I'm not actually going quite in the same space as most people do with this hot button issue. You see, today I'm here to do my duty, to help you out. I'm here to give you a little seed in your head. Now, before I start, strangelings, I know some of you are more into the traditional lifestyle, and that's cool, and you probably won't like this video. I won't feel terrible, as you already know, if you guys decide to click off of it. However, I would invite you to actually listen to it, because I am a woman who have literally been impacted in a negative way multiple times, actually, by the patriarchy itself. But my health, in fact, has had major dings because of it. And I say that because, unfortunately, the patriarchy is the system that holds up the idea of future population growth for the growth of a healthy economy. You see, you might not know this, but if you ask an economist, they will tell you the United States economy is partially, at the very least, based on future population growth in a place that is severely overpopulated. In fact, this last year saw Speaker of the House Mike Johnson here in the States actually saying that women need to have more children. We need to have all women having more children. I have discussed before my early childhood abuse. That was a sexual abuse. Because of it, I am one of those people who was told that I was supposed to be allowed at 18, which it's already a bit of a problem that we've decided that we can't get pregnant until we're 18, but because I was a legal adult at that point, they decided that at 18, I could decide to go ahead and do whatever I felt necessary to sterilize myself, medically, and that was supposed to be allowed. However, because the notion in the patriarchy that all women want to be mothers, that the whole idea of a woman is to become a mother in the first place, I was routinely refused under the guise, well, you might change your mind. Now, of course, this would not have happened to me in a world where the patriarchy does not exist. First off, my abuse would not have happened to me. But that's a story for a different day. But on top of that, I would have been allowed. It would have been a, oh, well, you're just 18. You don't know whether you'll want children down the road. It wasn't a whether I want them or not. It was a whether I would be able to mentally handle them. It was whether my psychology would hold up. Especially considering that part of my psychology revolves around abuse from when I was a very tiny child. And it was not just people I knew. So of course, I have spent, I should say, about 26 years here soon, with some high anxiety in the back of my head, having to watch strangers to make sure my children are safe. That is an anxiety I never had to go through for this long, had I not had children to keep safe. So, the patriarchy has actually had me in torment for a lot of years, honestly. Yes, it's not direct. However, it is as a result of what the patriarchy believes is good and okay. Now, I am not here to attack alpha bros. I'm not here to attack alpha girls. I'm not here to tell you how you should think and feel about this subject. I'm just here to plant a little seed. You see, if you're a human being, and especially if you live in the States like me, it doesn't matter whether you're male or female, you're very likely to have been extremely harmed by the patriarchy on multiple occasions, in multiple turns of your life. That's not an over-exaggeration, that's not an overreach, and that's not me being hyperbolic. That is the reality of your world. So this seed is important because once you start to actually come to terms and start to realize what this system has done to you, what things in your life would have been so much better, so much more healthy had you actually been able to grow in a natural, healthy way. I want to let you guys know, as somebody who has literally spent my entire life as a Doctor Who fan, and unlike some Doctor Who fans, I internalized it so much that I got into sciences. I got into especially temporal physics, and then I even got into history, because both science and history were, of course, what the show was about. It did start off, after all, as a BBC Kids sci-fi show. Now, because of that, I've done a lot of research, and some of it, of course, has been centered around the patriarchy, because the problem is, I really wanted to know what it is that causes me to have to be treated differently, just because I happen to be born with a uterus instead of a penis. Or at least I don't have a penis, because, you know, I could have been born with both, or more. So, in my research, I found the oldest laws that we know of for mankind were the laws made in Mesopotamia. Those laws were to control two things. One, commerce. Two, the female persona, the female body, female everything. Now, the reason why I say this is where the patriarchy started, or as far as we know, approximately where it started, is because of the fact that these same type of laws were not being made about men. We're not legislating how men could behave, or how men, well, when they did legislate how men could behave, it was in regards to dealing with women and commerce, you know. But they weren't legislating who the men could be as a person, what the kind of things men could wear, or how they could behave in public as an individual at all. You see, there's this truth, and it is a truth that the people who wrote the Torah had tried to expose, and I would say honestly tried to turn into an evil when it really wasn't. So you have the story of the Garden of Eden. This is one of the examples. These are the kinds of examples, I should say, you will see in things written back then about why these laws were there. But the example of the story of Garden of Eden is a big flashing neon clue right there. And this was the type of thing that they were still on, you know, by the time they wrote the Torah. Mesopotamia was before they wrote the Torah, guys. So, the Garden of Eden example was basically this, you know, look, she can't behave, you know, you tell her not to do this, and she asks these irritating questions, and then suddenly she goes ahead and does the thing you tell her not to do. The reason why it was stated in a lot of these places why they would make these rules were because men were so much more easy to subordinate. All you had to do was tell them to do this, tell them this is what they get, or this is what they get if they don't, and they go, okay, boss, son, go do it. That woman, oh my God, she's got to ask questions. She's got to ask, okay, well, if I have to put this on here, and then I have to take it off here, and none of these steps in between involved this thing here, why am I doing anything with it whatsoever? Well, I can do it easier by cutting out this step and doing this, and this instead. You know? Or she'll ask, are we sure that's even healthy? Why are we doing that if we're not sure it's healthy? You know, various things like that. So this was always given as an example as to why they wanted to legislate women. Because women don't just do what they're told. They have to ask why. They have to misbehave. They have to, you know what, that's not what I want to do. I'm going to go do this, what I want to do right now instead. And we can't have that. We can't have them, you know, telling the ruler off for telling them they're wrong for doing something that they wanted to do. The reason why I wanted to plant the seed in your head, though, is because this. Before these laws were made, and I cannot state for 100% solid that Mesopotamia was the first ones, just the first ones that we know of so far. And I mean archaeology-wise, the first ones we know of so far. I should say not archaeology, anthropology-wise, the first ones we know of so far. So, however, I do know before any of these laws ever came to be, what we were was just a small clustering of peoples here, there, and the other place. We were natural. We were Gaia's little bipedal children. We were just like any other creatures in nature. Now here's where we get into the weeds with this one. Because, of course, the examples most people give are wolves. Well, of course, you have the alphas, and they get everything first and blah, blah, blah. You have lions. Well, you know, the male runs the pride, and he gets to kill the babies when he takes over a new pride if he wants to, and he gets to do what he wants, and blah, blah, blah. Everything he wants, he gets. Gorillas, another prime example that they love to use. I'm going to tear down those examples for you, though. You see, first let's go with the basic, obvious example. Men in nature, except for, and only except for, in humans, men apply to the women for companionship. They say, oh my God, you are so gorgeous. I really want to be your partner. Look at how beautiful I am. Can I please be your partner? And sometimes they have stiff, heavy competition. We have examples of all kinds of bird species. In the birds, they are of course sexually dimorphic. Males are usually just a tiny bit smaller than the females, and they are beautifully radiant in so many ways. And I mean radiant even in crows and ravens. If you look at the feathers, they are glowing. And where you have that oil shimmer is mostly males. Now, these males in some species go so far as to make elaborate nests with various trinkets that have been found in the world. Usually trash from humans, unfortunately, these days. But throughout the world that they have available at their wings. And they ask the female to come see this beautiful nest. And if she loves the nest, then she allows him to be her mate. There is a species, or I should say a subspecies of blowfish that make these elaborate circles on the ocean bottom. And then the female will come and sit in the middle if she accepts. But she has to be found and enticed to the circle in the first place. Now, the examples I gave, we have wolves. As the big problem with naturists throughout history is most naturists in the 20th and 19th centuries especially were very human-centric. You see, they took human psychology and they took animal biology. They watched the animals work with their biology, interact with each other and all that, and then they applied the human psychology right over top. When, if they were truly naturalists, they would have had to observe for much longer so that they could actually observe the animal psychology. Now, I am big on animal psychology mainly because animal psychology of, say, cats, I have down pat. And I have that down pat because I've lived with cats my entire life. I could literally tell you what your cat means by doing this, that, or the other. I can sit there and talk, actually, with most cats. I know I'm weird, and if it was the 1800s, I'd be burned as a witch for just saying it, but I don't care. So, those who have been studying the natural world and applying the animal psychology as opposed to overlaying the human psychology have actually noted that the alpha pair of the wolves are only really a figurehead. They are the biggest, they are what seem like the most ferocious, so that they are the ones who, if they see a predator coming on the horizon, they step to the outside and stand facing the predator, while everybody else lines up in order of capability, of fragility, I guess. And if this opposing figure of these two large wolves is not enough, then the entire pack get in on it. Well, I should say the entire able-bodied pack, of course. Now, if these were alphas, either one, they would be the only ones to attack, or 2, they would not attack at all. They would go back with the weak ones. Because that's how actual alphas behave. You see, if you believe you're an alpha, you believe you deserve everything for sure. Sure, other people might deserve everything, sure, but you deserve more than they do. You deserve the best, you deserve the most, you deserve the first pick, you deserve to make sure you are the one who survives. That is what alpha means as far as socially. Firstly, that also means your pack believes the same thing, so they would be running out there not questioning why you're running back with the babes. This is especially true for human alphas, by the way. So if you are somebody who is following an alpha, you might want to question what you're actually hearing. Because usually an alpha is only there to use you for their best resource. Now, the second example I gave is a lion. Now, lion prides, they used to think, oh, the lion comes in and he gets to decide who's in control of that pride because it's him, unless some young lion comes in and overpowers him. That's slightly true. However, if it was fully true, there would be one truth that would not ever happen. You see, male lions, they mate with females of their pride, and any friendly male who happens by. You see, sex is only for mating, only for an alpha. But, obviously, it's not only for mating. Here, it's also being used as social interaction, social connection. Now, I'm sure I'll hear plenty of people say, well, if that lion is the top, well, then he is an alpha. No. Reason number 2. I have seen cases that have been reported on by humans of whole entire prides of lionesses taking down the lion because either he's sick and now insane. 2, he has killed too many cubs and must be culled. 3, they just don't like him. He's not effective enough. He's not mating well, and he's not hunting well. Now, what a lion pride actually is you have a social grouping of females. They are family. They will sometimes take in other females who aren't part of the family and make them family. That's why, air quotes, kind of like a bohemian gypsy family. And so, those females, 1, have a matriarch. They have a definite matriarch. However, that matriarch, as female hierarchies work, is, much like the wolves, mostly a figurehead. She does get to make decisions, but she's mostly a figurehead. Now, with lion prides, we have not seen evidence yet of females being ejected from the tribe. We have, however, seen plenty of males being ejected from the tribe, and I am not just talking about cubs who have come of age. I am also talking about the male who is supposed to be the male for the pride. The situation in a pride is more along the lines of a social grouping of females that have a shared male mate who also does a little protection and some services during hunting. I have seen my fair share of people who try their damnedest to claim that the male lion is the best hunter in the savannah. The male lion is a hunter's assistant. He's not a hunter. The male lion goes out with the female or females who choose to hunt today. He sits down in the tall grass. He waits until he sees the signal of the tail switch in just the right way before he gives his powerful guttural roar. That causes the animals to run towards the lionesses, or lioness, who then start the hunt. Yes, a froggy lion will go ahead and hunt with the females, or female, but for the most part, male lions don't tend to hunt. And for dragging it home, well, that's pretty much the whole hunting party, not just the male who wins. Yes, the male gets to eat first. That's kind of being the male of a lion pride kind of comes with, you can think of it as an income of the protection of those females, because yes, the males and females protect each other in the lion prides. Sometimes female prides have been known to take down an invading male when their lion is having a little issue with the job. Again, these are lions who, if they haven't been there for a long time, can sometimes no longer be there, either through teeth or through feet. Yeah. So lions are not actually the head of their pride. They are being paid to be there with sex, with food, and with protection. And they get to play with the cubs. And yes, by the way, male lions are absolutely the pinnacle of my care of these babies is to play with them. They really are. But in a natural setting, that's a hell of a lot easier than in a modern setting, trust me. Example number 3, gorillas. Well, that's far more towards bohemian. Because where we'll call her an alpha female, but she's not. Where the alpha female of the gorilla pod she is the dominant. She is also, at the same time, a figurehead. Yes, she will smack other females around. She'll even smack the male around when they're acting badly. Yes, she has the right to start a shun of anyone in the tribe. But at the same time, it is another social grouping of females. However, with this one, this is more like birds when it comes to males, because when it comes to gorillas, the males have to actually really apply to be the male in that pod. And they have to apply hard. If they do something wrong, I have seen several bits of information, both text and footage of female pods with no males. Now the only difference is, of course, there's sexual dimorphism. Unfortunately, with primates, our sexual dimorphism is females are smaller. I don't know when that came in, but you know. So unfortunately, she and the rest of the females, they can fight pretty hard, but they can't fight as brutal. So of course they have more tree tactics when they're in danger without a male. But in none of the examples that men have used throughout the decades, in at least the States, and I'm sure in other countries too, in none of these examples are the males actually the dominant, or is there an actual technical leader, in fact. Now, the reason why I talk about that is because my theory is, before we were making laws in places like Mesopotamia and possibly earlier, we were just collections of people. Clusters here, clusters there, individuals here, there, and the other place. Males came to females if they weren't in groupings, and sometimes if they were, petitioning to be companions for us, with gifts, with bits of care, you know, picking the little bugs out of our hair, you know, and whatnot, you know, things primates do. And now that I've talked about bugs, oh God, no! Sorry guys. My brain has an allergy to talking about bugs and hair. Tingly now. You know, they would, you know, commit these services, bring these things, show these pretties to these girls, to these females that they really wanted to be the companions of. I think what might have happened that actually really kicked off possibly society as a whole, but definitely a society that was going to be moving more towards a male-driven world. And that is the fact that at some point down the road, males got tired of applying to the females and asking to be companions. And they started to look at each other and say, well, let's prove that we're worthy of being companions here before we go check her out. Almost like a snake mating ball. Yeah. That's actually kind of the crux of the seed I wanted to plant in your head, that little bee in your bonnet. Society as a whole is a construct for men to try to compete, to prove that you guys are worthy of women. And unfortunately, because women didn't want to play ball, laws were made to wrangle them into those paddocks. Now, of course, I don't want to leave this video without offering a solution, because the truth is, we should be able to be on equal ground. A concept called equal but different. You see, females, the way we are, we have evolved over time, have certain talents and skills and abilities that males do not, and vice versa. And these skills are equal in importance, in talent, in ability, in what it really takes to do it. Not just like talent and ability wise, but really fortitude is what I'm looking for. That's the word I'm looking for. So I mean, the world that would be ideal for both men and women would be a world where both men and women are considered in the first place. I mean, after all, if the whole point of making a theater is to make it so that your wife has somewhere to go see these plays that she loves, and you open it to the public, well then, isn't it a bit harsh making your wife sit in a very tiny, restricted booth that's soundproofed so no one could even hear her laugh or cry or cheer at the plays that she loves so much. I just wanted to stick that bee in your bonnet, that little seed, so that it might grow a little bit, so that having that thought in the back of your head while seeing what is happening as far as what's going on right now with femicide and just the treads, the tread wife abuse issues that keep coming out and all of that. I wanted to put that little seed in your planter to hopefully help you understand just a little bit more as to why, and maybe understand a little bit more as to why these women, even though they are going into these being convinced as children with their, unfortunately, with their traditional male family members, convincing them that they are naturally born to be subordinate. These videos coming out are these women just realizing, because it's not actually in female nature to be subordinate at all. It's actually in female nature to live, to experience life, to create, to heal, to commiserate, to love, to, just experience. It's what we're for. In fact, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, all you males out there, that's what you are for too. You're not supposed to be here applying into this patriarchy so that they, the higher ups in the patriarchy, can use the system that they toxified so very much to abuse you too. You don't deserve that either. Alright guys, I have had a very long-winded talk here. Oh my lord, 37 minutes already. I'm gonna get out of here, guys. I love you all, so do remember, it doesn't matter who you are, I do love you. And take care of each other. And I'll see you guys in the next video.